Can you really get anything for 1 cent? Top 1. The humble penny, often overlooked in daily life, can sometimes be worth far more than its face value, especially when you dig deeper into the history and characteristics that make a particular year or version of the coin rare and valuable. The 1963 penny is one of those fascinating examples, and if you happen to have one in your collection, you could be holding on to a small fortune. Let's first set the scene. The 1963 penny was struck during a time when the United States was experiencing significant social and political change. The country was in the midst of the Cold War, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum, and a new generation of Americans was coming of age. The 1963 penny, minted during President John F. Kennedy's time in office, carries the aura of this transformative period in U.S. history. But while its historical context is intriguing, it's not the only thing that makes this penny so valuable. In 1963, the U.S. Mint continued to produce pennies made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a composition that had been standard for many years. However, as we know, the materials used in U.S. coinage would eventually change over time, but for the 1963 penny, this particular composition is part of what makes it unique. The coin's distinctive reddish-brown color, coupled with the year it was minted, makes it a key piece for any serious numismatist. Now, let's talk about why the 1963 penny has garnered so much attention in the world of coin collecting. Like many other coins, the value of the 1963 penny can depend on several factors, including its rarity, condition, and any potential minting errors. While most of the pennies from 1963 are not especially rare, there are certain conditions and variations that can make this coin highly valuable. One of the key reasons why a 1963 penny can be worth so much is due to the fact that the coin was produced in large quantities, meaning the availability of perfect examples or coins in mint condition is far rarer than it seems at first glance. The condition of the coin plays a critical role in its value. Coins that have been well preserved, free from damage, scratches, or tarnishing, are far more valuable than those that have circulated heavily. For the 1963 penny, uncirculated examples, particularly those with sharp detail and original luster, are the ones collectors are most interested in. These high-grade coins can fetch a premium price at auction. The demand for pristine examples of 1963 pennies is high, as collectors seek to add them to their portfolios, especially when they are in mint condition and free of wear. Another factor that increases the value of the 1963 penny is the possibility of finding rare minting errors. Errors can occur during the coin production process, and some of these mistakes can make a coin much more valuable. For example, double strikes, misprints, or coins with off-center designs can all make a 1963 penny worth much more than its face value. Error coins are highly prized by collectors because they represent a unique piece of U.S. mint history. These errors are not only fascinating but also incredibly rare, which makes them even more valuable. And now, let's talk about the price. Most 1963 pennies, especially those in average condition, are worth only their face value, which is 1 cent. However, when it comes to rare examples, particularly those in perfect condition or with minting errors, the value can soar. It's not uncommon for a 1963 penny in exceptional condition to sell for a few $100s. But here's the exciting part: certain 1963 pennies, especially those with significant errors or in near-perfect condition, have been known to fetch prices as high as $28,000. That's right, $28,000 in words. A coin that was originally worth just 1 cent can, under the right circumstances, sell for a staggering amount. This is proof of how much demand there is for rare and well-preserved coins in the numismatic world. If you're lucky enough to own a 1963 penny, it's worth taking the time to examine it carefully. Look for any potential minting errors, and check its condition. Coins that are in excellent shape, with no signs of wear, will always be more valuable. Also, consider the rarity of your specific coin. If it's a unique error coin or an uncirculated example, you could be holding onto a rare gem that could bring you thousands of dollars. In conclusion, the 1963 1-cent coin is far more than just another penny. Its historical significance, coupled with the potential for rare variations and errors, makes it a highly valuable piece for collectors. While most 1963 pennies are still worth just a single cent, the ones in exceptional condition or with rare minting errors can fetch eye-popping prices. So, the next time you sift through your spare change, remember that seemingly insignificant penny could be worth as much as $28,000. Keep an eye out, you never know what treasure you might find hiding in your pocket. Top 2. But the truth is, some pennies are worth far more than their face value, and the 1975 1-cent coin is one of those hidden treasures that can surprise even the most experienced collectors. This simple coin, minted over 40 years ago, holds the potential to be worth a small fortune, and in the world of numismatics, it has captured the attention of both seasoned collectors and those just starting out in the hobby. The 1975 penny might seem like just another ordinary coin, but it's not. To understand why, let's take a step back and look at the history behind this particular coin. The 1970s was a time of great change in the United States, politically, socially, and economically. The country was recovering from the Vietnam War, going through a period of economic struggles, and experiencing cultural shifts that would define future generations. The 1975 penny, produced during this time, carries a piece of that history with it. At the time, pennies were made with a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This would change a few years later, but in 1975, the U.S. Mint was still using this traditional copper mix for the 1-cent coin. The penny, featuring the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, was a common sight in circulation, and many of these pennies were produced in large numbers, making them relatively easy to find. However, as with many coins, there were small details that set certain 1975 pennies apart from the rest. What makes the 1975 penny special in the eyes of collectors is the possibility of finding rare minting errors and unique variations. As with most years of coinage, not every penny struck by the U.S. Mint was perfect, and some coins left the mint with errors that would make them much more valuable. Minting errors, such as double strikes, misprints, or even coins that were struck with the wrong dies, can all contribute to a coin's rarity and its potential to fetch a much higher price than expected. When these errors occur, they create one-of-a-kind coins that are incredibly sought after by collectors, and the 1975 penny is no exception. But it's not just the errors that make the 1975 penny valuable, it's also the overall condition of the coin. Coins that have been preserved in excellent condition, with minimal wear and no signs of corrosion or damage, are more desirable to collectors. A 1975 penny that has been well cared for, with sharp details, a shiny surface, and no visible marks, is considered a true gem. These coins, often classified as uncirculated, can command high prices, as collectors are always on the lookout for coins in the best possible condition to add to their collections. When it comes to the value of the 1975 penny, most of them are still worth only their face value of 1 cent. After all, millions of these coins were produced and circulated, so they're not particularly rare on their own. However, rare variations and minting errors can drive up the value dramatically. Some 1975 pennies have been sold at auction for thousands of dollars, depending on their rarity and condition. And while it might seem hard to believe, certain versions of this penny have even been known to sell for as much as $25,000. That's right, $25,000 in words. How can a penny that originally cost just 1 cent end up being worth so much? The answer lies in the rarity and the demand. Coins that are part of a small batch, have been preserved in perfect condition, or contain unique minting errors can be worth far more than their initial face value. For example, a 1975 penny with a rare double strike error or one that is in flawless, uncirculated condition might be the kind of coin that could fetch that staggering $25,000 price tag at an auction. So, how do you know if you have one of these valuable 1975 pennies? First, you'll need to inspect it carefully for any errors or variations. Look for things like doubled images, unusual markings, or any irregularities in the design. Also, check the condition of the coin. If it's been well preserved and shows no signs of wear, it could be worth much more than a typical penny. It's also a good idea to get the coin professionally appraised if you think you found something rare, as numismatists can help determine the true value of your coin. In conclusion, while most 1975 1-cent coins are still worth just 1 cent, the rare minting errors and high-quality examples can be worth far more than anyone might expect. Some of these coins have even been known to sell for as much as $25,000. So, if you come across a 1975 penny in your spare change, take a closer look. It could be a hidden gem that's worth a lot more than you think. Don't let the simple appearance of the penny fool you. There's real value to be found in the world of coin collecting. Top 3. The world of coin collecting is filled with fascinating stories and hidden treasures, and one of the most exciting finds for collectors is the 1985 1-cent coin. At first glance, this seemingly ordinary penny might look like just another piece of change, but dig a little deeper, and you might be surprised by its value. In fact, some versions of the 1985 penny are worth a significant amount of money, making it a must-have for serious collectors and coin enthusiasts alike. To understand why the 1985 penny is so special, let's take a step back and look at the historical context. The 1980s was a time of significant change in the United States. Politically, the country was under the leadership of President Ronald Reagan, and the economy was undergoing shifts as the country moved away from the high inflation and economic struggles of the 1970s. But while the political and economic landscape was changing, something else was also happening quietly behind the scenes: changes in U.S. coinage. By the time the 1985 penny was minted, the U.S. Mint had already switched from the traditional copper composition used in earlier years to a new formula made up of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. This new composition was introduced to reduce the cost of producing pennies, as the price of copper was on the rise. This shift in material meant that the 1985 penny, like other pennies produced after 1982, had a different feel and appearance compared to earlier versions, making it an interesting coin for collectors to examine. But it's not just the change in composition that makes the 1985 penny noteworthy. As with any year of coinage, there are always variations and minting errors that can make certain examples much more valuable. The 1985 penny is no different. Some of these coins have unique characteristics, such as double strikes, die cracks, or even misprints that make them much rarer than others. These errors are highly sought after by numismatists and collectors, as they represent a mistake in the minting process that turns an otherwise ordinary coin into a valuable piece of history. The condition of the coin is also a major factor in determining its value. As with any collectible item, coins that are in pristine condition are far more valuable than those that have been worn down over time. A 1985 penny that has been well preserved, with no signs of damage, tarnishing, or scratches, is considered a much more valuable find. Coins in uncirculated condition, with sharp details and a clean surface, can command high prices in the market, especially if they are error coins or rare variations. But what really makes the 1985 penny stand out in the world of coin collecting is its potential for a massive payout. While most 1985 pennies are still worth only their face value of 1 cent, there are certain rare examples that have been sold for incredible amounts. When it comes to coins with minting errors or those in perfect condition, the value can skyrocket. Some of these rare 1985 pennies have been known to sell for a jaw-dropping $22,000. Yes, you read that right, $22,000 in words. So how can a penny that originally cost just 1 cent end up being worth so much? The answer lies in the rarity of the coin, its condition, and any potential minting errors. For example, a 1985 penny with a double strike error or a misaligned die could fetch a premium price because these mistakes are extremely rare. The rarity of these error coins, combined with the growing demand for them in the collector's market, can make them worth far more than a typical penny. The fact that some of these coins have sold for as much as $22,000 speaks volumes about their value in the world of numismatics. If you think you might have a rare 1985 penny in your possession, it's worth taking a closer look. Start by examining the coin for any potential errors. Look for things like doubled images, uneven strikes, or other imperfections that could indicate a minting mistake. Also, check the overall condition of the penny. Coins that are well preserved and free from wear and tear are always more valuable than those that show signs of use. If you find a 1985 penny with a unique error or in near-perfect condition, you could be sitting on a coin worth much more than its face value. In conclusion, the 1985 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how seemingly ordinary pieces of currency can become highly valuable collectibles. While most 1985 pennies are worth just 1 cent, certain rare versions of this coin, particularly those with minting errors or in excellent condition, can sell for an astonishing $22,000. So, next time you come across a 1985 penny, take a moment to inspect it carefully. You just might be holding on to a small fortune.